going on, guys? Welcome to the Cover 2 podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lawson Turner, and we got some basketball to talk about. We know that the NFL schedule is coming out later tonight, but let's dive on into the two games that happened last night. So, the New York Knicks decided to beat the brakes off the Indiana Pacers in a game in which I felt like they needed to get some momentum back in their favor as they pulverized the Pacers 121 to 91 behind Jalen Brunson's 44-point outing. Now, this series, when OG went down, I saw, and I'm sure we all saw, the momentum kind of swing in the Pacers' favor. The Knicks no longer have that big wing defender that they can put on Pascal and make it tough and difficult. And we saw Jalen Brunson struggle in games 3 and 4. Really in game 4. Really struggled. Now, the biggest thing for me from last night's game was Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, the Pacers could have had no answer to keep him off the glass, especially on the offensive end. He had 12 offensive rebounds. That's more. That's more than double of what the Pacers had as a team. The Pacers had 5 offensive rebounds as a team, and Isaiah Hartenstein had 12 offensive rebounds. You're not going to win that way. You're not. Now let's dive into. I thought the Knicks, like, you could tell. I want to say that the altercation was in the third quarter. I was about to say period. It's not hockey. Dante DiVincenzo and Miles Turner kind of got into it, and when you have teams that just have a bad history, and the series goes on for 6 and potentially 7 games, it's gonna bear minimum go 6. You're kind of tired of everybody. You're tired of little bumps here, little bumps there, the way guys ride into you, and it's frustrating. And these players are really starting to get spicy, and I love it. I love when the energy goes and flies out and emotions go crazy. It's exciting and fun for fans of the sport. Now let's dive into. I mentioned Jalen Brunson's 44-point performance. He also had 7 assists and 4 rebounds. Now it did take him 35 shots to get to the 44 points, but he was efficient, shot more than 50% on all his shots all night long. Isaiah Hartenstein, 3 shot attempts, 7 points, 17 rebounds, 12 on the offensive side of the floor, and 5 assists. He was outstanding. I thought Josh Hart also played a really nice, clean game. 18 points, 11 rebounds, 7-15 from the floor. Miles or Deuce McBride, whichever one you want to call him, he was another outstanding game. They started 4 guards, them as in the Knicks. Like, their starting 5 was Brunson, McBride, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Hartenstein. And they're not like over big guards. It's just hustle, grit, grind, stretch the floor enough to give Brunson so much room to operate. Deuce McBride, 17 points, 4 assists, 7-15. Really, really nice game. Now, Alec Burks off the bench. Over the past 3 games, he's been awesome. Picking up for not where OG left off, because he's a guard, he's not a wing, and he's not going to be that impactful player on defense. But he has picked up the load scoring that OG Anunoby brought. Another good game off the bench, scoring 18 points and made 5 out of the 8 threes they took. Was 6 for 11 overall. Now to go from what the Knicks did, let's talk about what the Pacers didn't do. They were trying so hard to limit turnovers. I said turnovers, to limit these New York Knicks runs with timeouts. Like, when the fourth quarter started, and it was still, I mean, it was 20, but if the Knicks can, I said Knicks, if the Pacers can just cut into it, and maybe Haliburton can have a big fourth, maybe they could close the distance. But they had one timeout to start the fourth. One. And timeouts are key timeouts are important when stopping runs, but you also need your players to just get something easy, whether it be a layup, a dunk, a wide open shot that goes down, something to just stir and silence the crowd just a little bit. Because once MSG gets into it, it's a different building. Pascal Siakam, I thought, played a nice game. 22 points, 8 rebounds, 2 for 3 from 3, 7 of 15 from the floor. Miles Turner, subpar game, doing everything not name scoring. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 6 of 12 from the floor, and 4 for 7 from 3. Now, I'm going to get into Tyrese Haliburton because earlier on in the year, it was like, oh, shit, has he arrived? He's playing at an All NBA first team level. And then he got hurt. And I don't know if it's still lingering, but he coasts and floats way too much for me. It it pisses it. He's so fun to watch when he's engaged, but if he doesn't have the ball in his hands, he just he'll go sit in the corner, he'll go sit on the wing. He doesn't move well without the ball. It's lethargic. It pisses me off when like 9 shots in a game you have to have. Now they don't have to in the grand scheme of things due to game sixes at home, but it's like you don't have like we saw in games 2, 3, and 4. If you're the aggressor, now you don't have to match what Jalen Brunson's doing, but if you can stay aggressive, and I know you're a selfless player who wants to get others involved, but 13 points on 9 shots, I, it, it amazed me because I thought at some point he would look to, take over scoring wise. And there were a couple times where he'd have wide open layups, but he would just throw it at somebody's foot trying to make an extra pass. Why? I don't know. He falls in love with the three too much for my liking. He's like I want to anoint him as one of the stars to borderline superstars because he's fun to watch. He's electric when it's going, when he's engaged on the offensive end. It's he's great. But then you have nights like in game 1 where he takes 6 shots. Then you have games where last night where he has 13 points, 5 assists and is 9 takes 9 shots for the entire game and he is coasting. Where it's like if you can acknowledge the fact that if you win this game, you're going home up 3-2, a place where the Knicks didn't win. Like in games 3 and 4, like you do realize you're undefeated at home, right? Like it simply amazes me when like you're supposed to be the star of the team. Go grab it. It's right there. Be aggressive. Look for your shot. I understand you're a selfless player at heart, but you gotta say, guys, just like in games 2, 3, 4, I'm gonna look to get mine, and then I'll look to get yours. But I don't know. It because like I mentioned, games 2, 3, and 4, he was aggressive. He was looking for his shot. He was getting downhill. He was rebounding and pushing the tempo. And then it's game 5 where he doesn't have the ball and he'll just go sit. And I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? There's no reason for you not to be the aggressor when in the previous 3 games it had worked to a T. Now you didn't win game 2, but it was competitive and close, and you could have pulled it out, but you didn't. And in games 3 and 4, we saw what happened. You blew them out in game 4, and you won close in game 5 and in game 3. I don't know. It just it I don't know what it is to turn the switch. I don't know if you can. Man, I think it's inside. I think just him as a I think Tyrese as a player, like I mentioned, good fun to watch when engaged. But when he's not engaged, it'll look like it will look how it looked last night when he's floating and not doing much of nothing. And You got to be a tone setter. And if you're not scoring, what else can you do for me, Tyrese? I don't know. Now they couldn't. There were a lot of just open shots that the Pacers just they weren't getting. They weren't getting a handful of. Even though they won the free throw battle, technically, like they shot more and they made more. But it amazed me when there were just a couple times where if it was a timely call here to silence the crowd, or maybe arise them and boo the refs. But like to start the game in the 5:30 mark to the 2:11 mark in the first quarter, Knicks goes 17-5. And even at halftime, it was the deficit was only they were down six after the first quarter. Like they were down 15 at half, and we've seen this Pacer team go on runs. Like there's no reason for them to fold. And then the Knicks from the 9:56 mark to the 3:13 mark, 19-1, 19-1, and then they went on a 18-4 run in the fourth, which kind of put the nail in the coffin and extended it to 30. Now, when you look, Knicks dominated the offensive rebounds, 20-5, and Isaiah Hartenstein had 12 of them. That led to 26 second chance points. Indiana just couldn't keep them off the offensive glass. Indiana also had double the amount of turnovers that the Knicks had. That led to 24 points off those 18 turnovers, while the Knicks only had 9. That led to 18 points off those turnovers for the Pacers. Rebounds, New York killed, 53-29. Knicks also won the bench scoring, and one of the keys to Indiana's success is their bench. They're deep. Obi Toppin, T.J. McConnell. Like you have these guys that are athletic and floor in TJ's case. Haliburton and TJ essentially over the past 2 games, not counting last night, they were 1-to-1 on and off the floor. Like I didn't see much of a change or a difference whether it was Haliburton or TJ on the floor. Knicks dominated in the paint, 62-36. I didn't notice this in real time, but when I was going over the box score, the Knicks shot 101 shots. Indiana shot 72. When you're out and like, let's just take it. They shot 29 more shots and they made 16 more than the Pacers. So it's like you're turning the ball over, you're giving them second chance opportunities. No wonder you got your teeth kicked in. Like no wonder in Game 6 it's on Tyrese, it's on Pascal, it's on Miles Turner and your star role players. Like, cause we know what Jalen Brunson is gonna do. He's gonna be aggressive, look for his shot, keep Isaiah Hartenstein off the glass. Team rebound. Everyone's got to box out somebody. You know when the shot goes up, Josh Hart's flying from wherever he's at on the perimeter. Everybody box out somebody, put a body on everybody. It's not it's not rocket science. It's basketball. And I know it's gonna be tough, but if you can force the game 7, anything can happen, Indiana. But how y'all looked in Game 5, I don't know if it'll go back to MSG. I don't. I don't. It looked like the Knicks last night just reached into the Pacers' chest and ripped out their heart. That's all there is to it. It looked like Indiana didn't want it, and the Knicks wanted it and took it. They took it and ran with it, and that's it. And that is how the Knicks won, 121-91. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at the Cover2Pod26. Link will also be in the description to make it easier to find. Let me know in the comments section below, can the Pacers force Game 6? I think the Knicks in this in 6. Uh, like I said earlier, thank you so much for watching. For the Cover 2 podcast, I'm Lawson Turner, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.